reason I have a Mexican's name. It's because my name's not actually Rahul, ladies and gentlemen. It's Rahul, traditional Indian name. But the thing was, I grew up in Newcastle, where they have quite a funny dialect. And all the Geordies who come in my dad's corner shop, so I should point out, my dad does in fact own a corner shop, because sometimes racist stereotypes are true. But all the Geordies who come in my dad's corner shop can quite pronounce our ethnic-sounding names. They give us names that are a bit easier on their dialect. So I was Rahul, I became Rahul. My sister, she was called Kiran. They just called her Karan. My mom's name was Devinder, just called her Dave. That was how it worked. In his hindsight, the worst one was my father, because my father, he had an oddly anglicised name. My father, for a man with a very strong Indian accent, had a weirdly westernised name. My father's name, strangely enough, Dominic. So you know what they called poor Dominic in the shop for a laugh? Papa Dom. Just how it worked in his hindsight. The other thing that may be a little bit confused about me is when I come down south, a lot of people aren't expecting this accent coming from this complexion. Like when I come down south, I tend to find a lot of people don't think immigrants made it that far north. A lot of you think we got as far as Manchester, just stopped and suddenly went, no, any further north, too cold, all the football teams are shit. Now what happened? I got cousins in the Shetland Islands and all sorts. When I go abroad, a lot of people think I'm Welsh. Just baffled this for ages, but I realise if you pay close attention to a foreign ear, Geordie, my accent, Indian, my parents' accent, Welsh, a completely unrelated accent, perfectly interchangeable. And if you don't believe me, London, I will prove it to you right now. Take a look at this. Take a look at this. Hello! My name is Darrell. I might be from Swansea, or I might be from New Delhi, or I might be from Gateshead. You never know. All I will say is I do get the general bemusement with my existence, because when I was at university, I made the exact same mistake. When I was at university, I met a Chinese guy from Liverpool. I was very confused. I did not realise they had Chinese people in Liverpool. He looked Chinese. He sounded like John Bishop. I had no idea what was going on. I spent the entire evening saying I did not realise they had Chinese people in Liverpool. In his defence, he spent the entire evening saying he did not realise they had Indian people in Newcastle. Then we both got stoned, pretended to be Harold and Kumar. Best night of my life, hands down. But if you ask me, London, these little cultural nuances are what make the UK a wonderful place to live. Because I was just up in Edinburgh in August for the Fringe Festival. By chance, top secret, do we have any Scots in the room tonight? A couple of Scots, very much in the dark. Hello, Scott who cheered over there. What's your name? Oh, it's her? I literally cannot see any of you. And besides, all white people look the same to me. So, woman who cheered behind, what's your name? Sarah, pleasure to meet you. Whereabouts in Scotland are you from, Sarah? Edinburgh. So you guys are lovely, right? Because you got Edinburgh, they don't mind the English. You got Edinburgh, they hear your accent. Oh, you're from England, that's wonderful. Whereabouts? In Newcastle. That's amazing. I've got family just up the road. But you head 45 minutes north of Edinburgh, Sarah. 45 minutes west of Edinburgh to a small city called Glasgow. Bit less friendly, innit? Bit less. Oh, you're from England, that's so nice. More. Oh, you're from England! I hope you fucking die! And that, Sarah, is why I love Glasgow. Because Glasgow is now the only place I have been in the world where I have been racially abused for the colour of my skin, not mentioned once. It's a new one for me, Sarah. Being told to fuck off back to England. By a Muslim woman in a full niqab, no less. Times are changing, ladies and gentlemen. And they're changing very fast. I mean, would you agree with the statement that it has been a pretty crazy past 2 years? About 12 of you. The rest of you at the back there very much used to a global pandemic, fair enough. I mean, I lived through the foot and mouth epidemic of 2001 myself. Don't think it quite compared. And I'm a Hindu. Those piles of dead burning cows meant something to me. But this one started like a sci-fi novel from the get-go. Started with the news in January 2020 that there was a novel coronavirus outbreak at a wet meat market in Wuhan. My first thought was, what the fuck is a wet meat market? That sounds like what my gay friends call Grindr. No idea what the fuck this is. Next thing you know, it had landed on the continent and I was selling myself on webcam like a budget porn star. I'm going to retract that. I don't think that's fair, ladies and gentlemen, because I don't know if you know a lot about budget porn stars, as I have just disparagingly referred to them as, but women with OnlyFans, cam girls, I know from experience, they are not budget at all. I know from experience they make a lot of money. Whereas this year, due to the pandemic, I was forced to move back in with my mum. Which was very awkward, because she was doing a lot of filming for her OnlyFans. Really took off this year. That gangbang was the worst day of my... Anyway! We all had a date via the cloud as well. That was weird. Give me a cheer if you did any Tindering, any bumbling, any Hinge throughout the pandemic. Couple of people, fair enough. I did a little bit of it, my friend, but it wasn't really for me. I kept getting catfished. If you're unfamiliar with the concept of catfishing, imagine you have paid for tickets to go see Ramesh Ranganathan, and then I walk out on stage. That is catfishing in its essence. The last time I got catfished, I deleted the app because what happened was I turned up on the date, realized I'd been catfished, realized this lady that was on the date didn't quite look like the lady in the pictures. I did not know what to do. I panicked, I ran away, I blocked her number, and I felt terrible. I know. That's why I deleted the app, because I know deep down I ain't respected my lady, and I felt that makes me a little bit sexist, a little bit shallow, because all this poor lady did was just not quite look as she did in her pictures. And do you know the amount of times I have been into McDonald's? I have ordered a cheeseburger, and the cheeseburger that has arrived looks nothing like the cheeseburger in the pictures, and yet I have still put my penis in it. As both a woman and a Hindu, that is my mother's least favorite joke, even more than the OnlyFans one. And now, after the pandemic, we've got World War III on the horizon. We all excited for that? Yeah, the women cheering louder than the men. No surprises there. There's a lot I don't really understand about this. Well, I think the thing I don't understand the most is why we're sanctioning Russia. I don't understand why companies like McDonald's, Coca-Cola, Marlboro are sanctioning Russia. Because if I'm going to be fighting Russian people in 5 years' time, I don't think we should be making these motherfuckers healthier. Like, I don't want no Russian army coming to me over the trenches with fucking, like, just survived 5 years on tap water and mama's homemade stroganoff. I don't want that shit. I want a Russian army coming to me with bad backs, diabetes, coming over the trenches on mobility scooters. The only people who should be boycotting Russia are Joe Wicks and Pure Gym. That is it. Now, I'm going to leave you with a question, ladies and gentlemen. I need some advice. I'm trying to give up smoking, and I'm finding it is the hardest thing I've ever tried to do in my life. Every time I give up, I end up starting again. So I figure, what better way to get around this horrible vice than to ask the audience I play to every night if they have any tips or tricks. So give me a cheer if there's anyone out there who's successfully given up smoking. Oh, you, my lady. Hello. What's your name? Your name is Basically. Sorry? Your name is Part-time Smoking? What is your name, my lady? What is your name? Arj. It's French, it means angel. Okay, it's very confusing, so I'm going to stick with Basically. Basically, how long ago did you give up smoking? COVID, right, okay, so a few years ago. Right, excellent. And when you quit, did you go cold turkey, or did you switch to a vape?
No, just stop it.
You just stop it completely. So cast your mind back, when you first gave up, every single time you wanted a cigarette, every single time you had a craving for the sweet, sweet nicotine, what did you do, basically?
They don't let you smoke in the hospital.
Oh, fuck, you got COVID! Right, okay. No, you quit during COVID. You quit because you had a respiratory disease eating up your lungs. Yeah, fair enough. Well, I've only got about 20 seconds left, basically, so all I'll say is usually when I speak to people, they didn't give up smoking because they were dying. I mean, they did give up smoking because they were dying, but not that. Anyway, usually people have like a substitute. Usually I speak to people and say, oh, like every time I want a cigarette, I had the beer, replace the nicotine rush with a booze rush. Every time I wanted a cigarette, I had some gummy bears, replace the nicotine rush with a sugar rush, right? I found what I was doing basically is every single time I wanted a cigarette when I'd given up, I would have a wank. And this didn't really work for me because the other comedians, Callie, Abdi in the back, they don't mind if I nervously smoke before I come to stage. If I nervously wank, that get you in a lot of trouble. I'm a good comedian. I'm not Louis C.K. Anyway, I don't think that's the right message to be sent into society, because it's scientifically proven, as you all know, regular smoking inevitably going to cause lung cancer. What you may not know, gentlemen, regular masturbation scientifically proven to reduce your chances of getting testicular cancer. And yet, when I finish this gig in about 30 seconds' time, if I was to pop upstairs, pop outside, start doing the thing that gives me cancer, not one of you would bat an eyelid. But if I was to pop upstairs, pop outside in 30 seconds' time, start doing the thing that has been scientifically proven to reduce my chances of getting cancer, I would get arrested. That is fucked up. So I think, as a matter of the most important public health policy, what we now need outside of every single comedy club are little wanking areas with red lights. Just so we can have people coming outside going, I don't even do this regularly, I'm just a social wanker. That's what we need! Ladies and gentlemen, I've been Raoul Cody. I'll be outside, I'm no wanker.